The impudence, the audacity, the unmitigated gall of those Knuckleheads of Liberty podcasters, daring to voice opinions outside the mainstream of accepted thought. Listen if you dare. It's angry, it's funny, it's even sometimes sad, but it's always based on freedom and justice, as you will see. Here's our host, Jason McPhee.
Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty. We are coming to you on July 27th, 2022. This is going to be a special show this time where we're going to summarize our recent trip to Las Vegas, where we went to Freedomfest. But before we do that, let me introduce you real quick to our panel. In our upper left-hand corner, we have Leon, the word Brathwaite, last word in Liberty. He is a retired engineer in the state of California. In our upper right-hand corner, we have our screaming eagle of freedom, Tim Everett. He is a pilot in the state of California. My name's Jason McPhee, and I'll be your host today. So, Freedom Fest, we just came back from it. It wrapped up on July 16, 2022, sort of a big growing moment for the show. We actually took some live footage there, did some interviews. So it was a really great experience, and we're going to share that with you momentarily. Leon, did you have any quick thoughts on what we did there?
It was a great gathering of the liberty-minded, and I encourage people to attend them when these things come up. I understand the next year it's supposed to be in Memphis. I hope even more people will reach out and see what freedom and liberty all mean. And I think we got a good dose of that in going to Las Vegas this summer.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's one of these things we'll be able to wrap you into in the future too, Tim. I know your schedule just didn't align with us, so we weren't able to do that this year. But this is twice in a row. We did South Dakota last time. We just attended and got some guests. Tim, you were going to say something?
No, I sorry I missed it. It sounds like you guys had a great time, and it's definitely a thing to look forward to going to next year. See what happens.
Well, we definitely had some hiccups you'll see in our videos, but we also did some good things, we think, and we're very excited to bring this to you so that you can get a flavor for this and some of what's going on in the Liberty moment. So on with the show. This is the Knuckleheads of Liberty coming to you from Freedomfest 2022 from the Mirage in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the final day of the conference. It's just wrapping up. You can see the main stage behind us going on right now. There's a lot of activity still in the exhibition hall, but boy, it's been a great conference. What do you think, Leon?
I think it has been fantastic. You know, we always talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which came out of one of our founding documents, the Declaration of Independence. But this is where you see it in action, where you meet all sorts of people of different walks of life who talking about spreading that message of liberty. It's been fantastic.
Well, thank you so much, you all, for watching us all this time, and we hope to bring more interviews to you from the conference and some long-form interviews later on, too. This is Knuckleheads of Liberty. We're here at Freedom Fest at the Mirage in Las Vegas, and we've just stopped by the booth for Young Americans for Liberty, and we met Patrick and Ryan. So, how you doing, Patrick? You guys want to tell us a little bit about what you guys do here at Young Americans for Liberty?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Young Americans for Liberty, we're here and we're asking people to sign what we call our free speech ball. And what we do at Young Americans for Liberty is we recruit college students on campuses. First off, we let them know, if you think liberty, you're not alone. There's other people like you that actually think the same way. And so we connect those students together, but then we also support them. So say the administration is saying, this is hate speech, you can't say this, or you can't organize, you're not allowed to do that. We'll support them. Sometimes that takes a lawsuit, sometimes it just takes more people to put pressure on the administration. But then we also take those students and we recruit them to actually get involved in elections. And so they work with our sister PAC, and about 1,000 students walking doors throughout the summer at least. We have 100,000 students across the nation who are signed up, but we recruit our best students to go knock doors for liberty. and they actually elect people like me. So I was part of the legislative coalition, and we only had about 20 legislators in a room. That's grown to well over 231 now. We're probably on track to be more than 250, if not 300 this year. And last year alone, our students knocked doors, got candidates in, and those legislators passed 136 bills that ended up making 88 million Americans more free. So obviously the administrations don't like us being on campus. They try to keep us off. So when we tried doing table events, they would tell us, your table is a fire hazard. So we came up with the beach ball concept because we can move it around. The students can have fun, they can kick it around on the quad, and then they go, what's this about? And it gives us an opportunity to talk to them, break into them, and then we eventually support those students. But not only that, we teach them how do you change the world, and that's what they're doing. These students are changing the world, actually being effective grassroots organizers, getting good legislators elected, good bills passed, all the way through the finish line.
Yeah, so your focus is primarily the campuses.
So we focus on the campus, but we do more than just the campus. So we start, that's where we recruit them, we support them, but then we teach them how do you actually affect change? Because it's not enough to just hold a rally and motivate people, right? We want to do more than that. And so that's actually getting involved in the policy making decisions, getting good people elected, and then even once the policy actually gets proposed, teaching those students different ways that you can actually advocate for the policy. It doesn't take an inside lobbyist that's wearing a $2,000 suit. We can do change from the grassroots level.
Just a little while ago you mentioned something about litigation. So you guys are involved in litigation?
We have
maybe
been
free speech litigation, maybe?
We have in the past. I think we're over 100 wins now.
We're
or just
99. We're
99.
very close, but I think it's impacted over 1.5 million students, I want to say. A lot of times what we'll do, especially with the free speech ball, is these campuses will have ridiculous policies for free speech, telling you you can only go in X space to go practice your free speech on public campuses. And so what we'll do is administrators will come out and they'll tell our students they have to move. Well, we're smart enough that we record that, of course, and so we're able to then file lawsuits a lot of times, or sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes we can go directly to the administration and tell them what's going on, and they might change the policy. But we've done that now for 99 schools, and 100 is going to be a big one. I'm excited.
Yes, we're excited for 100. And we also activate those students to actually change legislation. So in some states, we've actually passed free speech on campus legislation, making sure that their rights are actually codified in legislation.
Well, that's awesome that you guys are there as an ally for liberty-oriented students on campus, because they certainly need them nowadays.
Right.
And by the way, we heard too that you guys won an award here. Do you guys want to just briefly say something to the camera about that?
Yes, we were told that we won best booth of the show, so we're excited. It's really about the story and everything that goes involved with our organization and what the organization does and what it accomplishes. It's just truly an amazing organization. You have kind of two pieces of the puzzle here, because you have Ryan that works for the organization, but he was actually part of the college campus team recruited on campus, and then you have myself, who's a legislator, and so it's those two pieces of the puzzle where you get all of them working together to change, and that's how we've made 88 million Americans more free.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you more in a longer interview at some point in the future. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Jason and Leon, the Knuckleheads of Liberty, coming to you from Freedomfest 2022 in the Mirage in Las Vegas. And we've just come across the Gun Owners of America booth. So this is Monty and Ryan here representing Gun Owners of America. So Monty, you guys want to tell us just a little bit about your organization?
Absolutely. Gun Owners of America, we've been around since 1976. We're a nonprofit 2A organization. We're basically out there fighting for our Second Amendment rights. The biggest part about us that sets us kind of different from everybody else is we're the only no compromise organization. We believe that our Second Amendment was made for exactly what it says, and it's to uphold from tyranny. So we believe in no gun control, and we believe we have enough gun control that's already been put out on our books. So that's our biggest thing on our organization, where we fight for the rights there.
That's awesome. I know we've had your organization on our show a few times, so we're definitely friends of the show here. But how's this conference gone for you guys? Have you guys had a lot of good response?
We've had a tremendous response here. We've gained a lot of members here that we've talked to, anywhere from life members to ordinary, the annual members that we have. The biggest thing that I can tell you that I've seen that we've had is we've had a lot of conversations around the whole totality of the Constitution. So a lot of different minds coming together instead of fighting and arguing over certain social aspects. We've been able to really have good conversations about what's important to our freedom. So,
well, that's great.
Yeah.
Ryan, have you guys had many young people come around to talk to you or anything?
Not as many as I would like. Not as many as I would like to, but I mean, me as the Nevada State Director, I've been mainly trying to focus on reaching out to young folks. I'm also a full-time college student, so I've been reaching out to the colleges and then really pushing the word that, hey, GOA has boots on the ground in the state of Nevada. So we're really just pushing, what we're all about to the youth. And we're educating people on the importance of the Second Amendment, the right to protect ourselves against governmental tyranny, the right to protect yourself against violent individuals. And that's what I'm doing on the college campuses as a full-time student.
Very good. We recently had a big victory, a Second Amendment victory at the Supreme Court. Yes, I know we can't get into all the details of that right now, but did you guys have anything to say about that?
Yeah, we've actually filed lawsuit against New York, and the biggest reason we did that is because they came out with this talking about how our constitutional right, they will issue these concealed carry permits in the city of New York. Well, of course, New York, we all know, has started printing laws overnight just to go ahead and restrict our Second Amendment right. So we've also filed lawsuits into that branch. So, they're going to keep trying to take our guns away and more gun control. And GOA's there to fight that fight against it and keep fighting every single way.
Well, thanks so much, Monty, for all this work, because I'm glad to see you guys are out here defending that Second Amendment right for us.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to be here, and glad you guys made it as well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And that's Knuckleheads of Liberty rapping from Mirage, Las Vegas. This is Jason and Leon here, the Knuckleheads of Liberty at the Freedomfest 2022 at the Mirage in Las Vegas. And we come upon the Libertarian Party booth, and we found Angela McCardle, the new chair of the Libertarian Party, the National Libertarian Party. Angela, you want to tell us a little bit about how things are going for you here at Freedom Fest?
Yeah, things are going great. We are just spreading the message of the Libertarian Party, letting people know that we're all about economic and individual liberty. We want to give people an additional option when they hit the voting booth, and we also want to get them politically and culturally engaged in their local communities, because I think that's where real reform begins.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great that there's an organization out there who's actually looking out for liberty. And I hear you guys are going to make some big changes. It sounds like there's a lot of changes in the organization right now.
Yeah, and we're already underway. Earlier this month, we did some really aggressive outreach to the Bitcoin community. That went really well. We're going to be talking about inflation and doing outreach to small business owners and other people who are feeling the impact later this month and early next month. We really want to make the Libertarian Party a welcoming place to the larger liberty movement. That's my passion.
It certainly seems like right now with the current administration, we have a lot of opportunity, and so we're really hoping that you guys can make some progress.
Absolutely. The bar is low.
Yeah, the bar is low. You're relatively new in this job as the head of the National Libertarian Party. How that transition, how has it been?
The transition so far has been pretty smooth. We really hit the ground running. I had already started doing a lot of planning before I came into the role and working with my team and everybody else who got elected. So we have a pretty good board culture so far. We're going to be doing boardroom training and working on professionalizing and really helping us understand where our role is and what we should do and how we can best advocate for freedom in the United States. So far, I have really good feelings.
So is it your goal to expand the reach of Liberty and the Libertarian Party?
Yes, absolutely. Through social media, through earned media, through networking, and through community engagement especially.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you so much, Angela, for talking with us. And this is Libertarians, or Knuckleheads of Liberty, rather, signing off from Freedom Fest 2022. This is the Knuckleheads of Liberty coming to you from Freedom Fest 2022, Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Mirage Hotel. So we've been going through the exhibition area, and we've just come across Joe from the Mises Institute.
That's correct.
Yes, and the Mises Institute is one of those organizations that's sort of foundational in Austrian economics after Ludwig van Mises. So, and you want to tell us a little more about what you guys do there?
Sure. Well, for 40 years, we've helped students get through their graduate and undergraduate programs with support funding, which we collect from private donors. We don't take any government money, of course. We've been creating Austrian scholars for the last 40 years as a nonprofit. One of the things we're doing here is promoting our new graduate school, because we figured out with all of these PhD economists we've created and this new thing they call the internet, that rather than fund students to go to other people's schools, we could create our own. And that's what we've done. We've created an online master's degree program in Austrian economics. It's the only purely Austrian economic graduate degree program in the U.S., and we're still continuing to use our donors' funding to help the students get through the program. So for less than $5,000, they can get their master's degree in Austrian economics.
So just briefly, for our audience, could you tell us what Austrian economics is?
Sure. It's a school of thought. It's very free market. It's methodologically unique. It's developed by scholars at the University of Vienna, hence the name. It's not particular just to Austria. In fact, the U.S. may be the most Austrian economic friendly country there is, maybe Hong Kong at one point, but it leads to very free market conclusions. We establish our principles by deducing from other axioms, as opposed to running, massive mathematic regression models to try and figure out economics.
It's funny because given what the economics or the economists of the administration are currently pulling us through with all this crazy modern monetary theory and where the economy is going, we definitely need more people like you out there to give people some real economic education.
Yes, there's a lot of bad economics being taught out there, and we're here to help solve that problem.
Awesome. Well, thanks. So we're so glad that you guys are there fighting the fight. And
thanks a lot.
This is Knuckleheads of Liberty signing out from Las Vegas. This is the Knuckleheads of Liberty coming to you from Freedomfest 2022 at the Mirage in Las Vegas. And we've been going through the exhibit hall, and we've just come across the Grassroots Leadership Academy. And we found a great guy here, Dwayne Lester, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about what you guys do here.
Great. Thanks for doing this. We're a nonprofit organization. We're in 35 different states, and what we do is we help grassroots activists understand the principles of freedom, the principles that have built the most successful civilizations in history, and then we help them learn how to activate upon those principles, how to be activists for policies, but then how to implement those changes on a city level, a county level, a state level, and a federal level, really teaching them the skills to be better advocates for free societies.
So do you guys do workshops and seminars and those sort of things?
We do 6-week seminars. We will come into town once a week for over a 6-week period, however long it takes. We can also condense that down into a boot camp style over a couple of days if that suits your needs better. But we'll really work with the group that's there. If it needs to be virtual, we can work with them on that. We've done virtual classes with groups that are across the country. But if you've got a small group in a town, we can come and work with them with whatever your needs are.
And so what does somebody need if they want to reach out to you guys? How would they go about that?
Well, you can just do a quick search online for Grassroots Leadership Academy. Just Google that, and then all our contact information is on there. Or you can reach out to me personally. It's dlester@afphq.org.
Well, thanks so much, Dwayne. It's great that there's guys like you out there helping to organize people for liberty. We definitely need it.
I enjoy it. So.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Signing out for Knuckleheads of Liberty. This is the Knuckleheads of Liberty. We're coming to you from Freedomfest 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're here at the Mirage Casino, and we've been wandering through the exhibition hall, and we just come across the groups conservatives concerned about the death penalty. Demetrius, you want to tell us a little bit about your organization?
Well, absolutely. First of all, thank you, gentlemen, for having me on the podcast. Great to be acquainted with you here in Vegas. So we are an organization that goes to conservative, libertarian, Republican audiences, those on the right, and we talk about why the death penalty is not an effective system. Here's a couple of reasons why. It's costly, ineffective, and it's wasteful. It doesn't help murder victims' family. It does not serve as a deterrent to crime, and it doesn't keep us safe. It is basically big government at its finest. So check this out. I don't trust government to give me accurate COVID numbers. I don't trust government to deliver my mail on time. Why on God's green earth would I trust the government with a matter of life and death?
You sound exactly like a libertarian.
Well, this is a issue that many libertarians have come together and agree with us on, because again, it's talking about decreasing government, not trusting government, but also empowering our communities to serve as deterrent to crimes, to step in and be violence, step in and have violence prevention, and to do away with the death penalty.
Demetrius, I understand your concerns about the death penalty, but does your concern extend into a moral objection to the death penalty also?
I am morally opposed to the death penalty. I am pro-life, and for me, it's the totality of life, not just the beginning of it. So how I came to oppose the death penalty initially was through the lens of morality. My pastor back in 2006, just in a casual conversation, we were talking about the death penalty. He says it's hard to be pro-life and simultaneously pro-death. So for me, I had to do a more evaluation of my core principles and where I stood. And for me, I saw it as contradicting my moral compass. So if I'm going to be pro-life, I have to be pro-life from start to finish.
That sounds great.
Awesome. Well, you know, this is sort of a flavor of the really interesting people you get a chance to meet at Freedomfest. So thank you so much for your work, Demetrius.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your work. Thank you, gentlemen, for what you've done for Freedomfest. Glad to be with you.
And we're the Knuckleheads signing out from Freedomfest. This is the Knuckleheads of Liberty coming to you from Freedomfest 2022 inside the Exhibition Center at the Mirage in Las Vegas. So it's the last day. There's still a few activities left over. But we're sort of spent as knuckleheads. We've been to a lot of things.
Most certainly, yes.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of interesting people around here. We've lined up a lot of interviews that we're hoping to bring to you over the next few months. So a lot of interesting people. And boy, it's just really been a great experience. We did this in South Dakota last year, and that was our first, and that was a lot of fun. And this one, we feel like we've really grown. We're actually doing some stuff here from the event, and so, but we've met a lot of interesting people.
We
You
have.
want to tell us about a few of the things you've enjoyed, Leon?
Well, I thought some of the interviews that we saw, and I think James O'Keefe was great with some of the things that he presented. Rand Paul was fantastic. There was a presentation by a guy about some of the issues involving COVID that I thought was great, and I think some of those people should be prosecuted, quite frankly. And I thought overall, though, the message of liberty that is emanating from this place is unbelievable. We always talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in our show. But this is where you see the reality of it. And we ran into several people who are involved in the school choice movement, and that is a big pet peeve of mine. And I hope to get more involved with that. And I mean, this is all about liberty, and this have been just out of this world and fantastic.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're hoping to have some more interviews set up for us on the school choice. I know we met some really good people at Ed Choice, and we're going to have them on the show in the future. But boy, we've met a lot of great people involved with Second Amendment, First Amendment, just all kinds of interesting people. And I tell you, it's really worth, if you're at all concerned about your liberties, to come to a place like this, because you can really meet a lot of interesting people. There's just a lot of energy going on, and you can find out all kinds of ways that you can get involved. And so over the next few months, we're hoping to share some of that with you, and so to help you understand some of this as our viewers.
Well, as I say at the end of all of our shows, I think this is where you see life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in practice. In all avenues of life, quite frankly, all of it. I mean, whether you're a religious type, there's a room for you. Whether you're into the investment type, there's room for you. Whether you are in the school choice, like I want to be in more, there's room for you. All avenues of life you can find here at this Freedomfest, and I think it is a wonderful way to spread the message of liberty.
Leon, if you had to pick one thing from Freedomfest that really knocked your socks off, what would it be?
Oh God, there are so many things I saw here, but if I had to pick one thing, if you're going to force me to pick one thing, I would have to say maybe the COVID presentation really did blow me away. I saw some information in there that scares me, quite frankly. I think there's a lot there to be investigated, but that's the one thing that truly blew me away. I think maybe some of the things where with Lisa Kennedy on the stage was kind of really nice, and I really enjoyed a lot of that. But if I'm gonna go with the one thing, I think it's a COVID presentation. What about you?
For me, it was really great getting to meet some people that you just see on television a lot. I got to talk to Robbie Suave from The Hill and Reason for about 10 minutes, so that was a lot of fun. I got to talk with Larry Sharp, who's running for governor right now as a libertarian in New York. So he's been on the show in the past, but it was nice just to be able to, talk with him in the hallway for, a couple of minutes as we were going somewhere. And one of the most fun breakout sessions was a gun rights one, gun ownership right one that had to do with Maj Toure and Spike Cohen. That was a really fun breakout room. But that's the kind of thing you get to see. There's just all kinds of interesting people, and even got a book signed by Rand Paul. So got that close to the man. That's awesome.
That's right. I think I didn't see that the one with Maj and Spike. I did.
A couple other people
yeah,
don't have the information.
I didn't see that one, but I did get. I was in another breakout session with Maj. You were there also, and that was great. But he was on stage earlier, and he made a fantastic presentation. I mean, his organization. Black Guns Matter. I think what they are trying to do in the urban areas of America on this matter, I think is very, very interesting, and I think is very worthwhile and badly needed, because crime in the urban areas of America is a national disgrace, and I don't think anybody is doing anything about it for whatever reason. And I think citizens, the law-abiding, must arm themselves and protect themselves. I think recently we had a major victory at the Supreme Court, and I hope that will bring us to the point where we'll be owning and bearing more arms to keep ourselves safe from tyranny and safe from our criminal neighbors. So I really do hope and pray that these kind of things will continue as we keep on pushing for our Second Amendment rights and for our free speech rights and all those things. I think one time you said, Jason, that if we don't have the Second Amendment, well, we don't have the First either, and I think that is so true. So I was really glad to see the work, or hear about the work that Maj Toure is doing.
It was great too. We actually got a book signing with Glenn Greenwald, which is amazing. But that's I think about all we have now. We're going to put together a show for all of you out there, and boy, we're looking forward to talking more about this with you in the future. So until next time, stay free.
Stay free. And life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, always and forever.
Signing out from Freedomfest 2022, Knuckleheads of Liberty.